The text buzzed on my phone at exactly 9:47 p.m. on a Thursday. I was in the kitchen, setting 2 plates on the dining table, when the message popped up. Client dinner running late. I stared at the screen for a moment, the silence in the apartment suddenly feeling heavier. Whitney and I had been living together in this flat in Winchester for 18 months. We had our routines, our little rituals. Thursday nights were sacred, cooking together, sharing a bottle of wine, swapping stories about our weeks. Tonight, I was eating alone. The pasta on my plate grew cold while I waited. At 11:23 p.m., the Ring doorbell camera caught her slipping quietly through the front door. She looked different, tired, I suppose, but there was something else in her eyes. When she spotted me still awake, a flicker of surprise crossed her face. "You didn't have to wait up," she said softly, shaking her head as she put down her bag. "Made dinner. Saved you a plate if you're hungry." Her voice was light, but I noticed her perfume, something floral but different from the scent she'd worn earlier that day. "I already ate," I told her, watching as she placed her phone face down on the countertop before heading straight to the bedroom. "How was your day?" I asked, trying to keep my tone casual. "Long, exhausting. I'm off to bed," she replied without the usual stories or details. "Just tired." And that was it. Friday night, she got dressed around 7. She was wearing a navy blue wrap dress that hugged her curves just right, paired with black ankle boots that clicked sharply on the hardwood floor. Her silver bracelet caught the dim light, and the faint shimmer of her earrings peeked through her loose curls. I raised an eyebrow. "Where are you off to?" "Team thing, celebrating the campaign launch," she said, grabbing her purse. There was a flash of irritation in her eyes. "What time will you be back?" She hesitated. "I don't know, Brandon. Depends. I'll text you." The text came at 9:52 p.m. "Running late." That was it. No explanation, no details. She returned at 11:58 p.m., slipping in quietly. I was already half asleep on the couch, but she didn't even look my way. Saturday evening, she was at it again, dressing up in a sleek black cocktail dress with a modest slit, nude heels that made her legs look endless, and a delicate silver necklace resting just below her collarbone. "Melissa's birthday dinner," she said when I asked. "Want me to come?" "It's just the girls. You'd be bored," she shrugged. "What restaurant?" "Linger, I think." "Why does it matter?" She gave me a look, a mix of annoyance and something else I couldn't quite place. "Do you need a full itinerary or something?" "No, I trailed off. "I'll be back when I'm back," she said, brushing past me and heading out without a goodbye. The text arrived at 10:03 p.m. "Having a great time." She came back at 12:34 a.m., humming a tune, the happiest I'd seen her in weeks. The next morning, I checked Melissa's Instagram. Birthday photos from Bournemouth, nearly 90 miles away. Sunday afternoon, she was heading out again. 4 nights in a row, I said, trying to keep my voice light. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just noticing you've been busy. I'm allowed to have a life, Brandon." "I know, I didn't say you weren't." "Then why are you keeping track?" "I'm not keeping track, I just miss spending time with you." She softened a little. "I'm meeting Amy. Remember Amy from university?" "She's in town." Whitney paused. "She's visiting. Look, I really need to go." "What time should I expect you?" Her jaw tightened. "I don't know." "Stop asking me that." She left at 7:30 p.m., returning at 11:45 p.m. in completely different clothes, a black dress when she left, jeans and a sweater when she came back. I'm a software developer. I recognize patterns. This was a pattern. Monday morning hit like a cold shower. I tried to bridge the widening gap between us over breakfast, but Whitney barely looked up from her phone. "Can we have dinner tonight?" "Just us," I asked, hoping for even a sliver of the old connection. She scrolled, fingers tapping impatiently. "Can't." "Networking event." You could skip it, I suggested, trying to keep my voice steady. We haven't really talked in days. Brandon, this is important for my career, she said sharply, eyes finally meeting mine. You know that. More important than us, the unspoken words hung between us like a storm cloud. Don't be dramatic, she added, her tone clipped. It's just one event. But it wasn't. That was night 5 in a row. She left at 8, texted at 9:55 p.m. Just out late. Came home at 12:47 a.m., slipping past me like a shadow. Good event? I asked quietly. Fine, she muttered, heading straight to the bathroom. The sound of running water followed. A shower at nearly 1 a.m. was new, a small sign that something was shifting beneath the surface. Tuesday evening, I tried again to cut through the growing distance. Whitney, we need to talk about what's happening, about you being gone every night. I'm not gone every night, she shot back, eyes flashing. You're exaggerating. 6 nights in a row, so you are keeping track. I'm just noticing, I said, trying to stay calm. You're being clingy, she snapped, grabbing her keys off the counter. I have dinner plans. We'll talk later. With who? Does it matter? Yes, it does. A client, Colin from the agency. He's introducing me. Happy Colin. First time I'm hearing that name. When will you be back? She was already at the door. Stop interrogating me, Brandon. I'm not a child. She slammed the door behind her. I stood there, heart pounding, the sound of her footsteps fading down the hall. Wednesday morning was grim. She was distant, barely meeting my eyes over coffee. I ventured one last plea. Can we please just have one evening together? Not tonight, she said, voice cold. Why not? Because I have plans. What plans? She slammed her mug down, eyes flashing. Why do you need to know everything? Can't I just go out without you questioning me constantly? I'm not questioning you constantly, I said, voice low. I'm asking because I barely see you anymore. Maybe if you were more interesting, I'd want to stay home, she snapped. That one hit hard. I went quiet. She left at 7:50 p.m. without a word, no explanation, no text. She came back at 1:33 a.m., the door clicking quietly behind her. I pretended to be asleep, heart heavy. Thursday night, night 8, she didn't even tell me she was leaving. I came home from work to an empty flat. Text at 8:45 p.m. Out. One word. No smiley face, no love you. Just out. She returned at 1:52 a.m., slipping in like a ghost. Friday morning, I found her in the kitchen, looking tired. Where were you last night? I asked gently. Out with friends, she said, avoiding my gaze. Which friends? Does it matter? You don't know them. Try me. She turned, eyes hard. Why are you being like this? Controlling. Possessive. It's unattractive. I'm not being controlling, I said, voice steady. I'm being a boyfriend who misses his girlfriend. Well, maybe your girlfriend needs some space, she said, grabbing her bag. Didn't say goodbye. That night she got ready again. 9 nights in a row, Whitney, I said, trying to keep the edge out of my voice. I didn't realize you were counting. That's healthy, she replied, slipping on her coat. Where are you going? Honestly, I don't know yet. Maybe see some friends. Maybe just drive around. Maybe I need a break from being interrogated. She left at 7:30 p.m., no text, no goodbye. She came back at 2:03 a.m., slightly drunk, saw me awake on the couch, and her relaxed expression shifted instantly to guarded. Why are you still up? Couldn't sleep. You're checking up on me. I'm not. This is suffocating, Brandon, absolutely suffocating. She went to the bedroom and locked the door. I sat alone, the clock ticking louder than ever. 9 nights. 9 nights of silence, excuses and distance. I felt like a spectator watching a love story unravel frame by frame. The question that burned in my mind, where was Whitney really going? Saturday afternoon, I found Whitney packing a bag in the bedroom. She wore an oversized gray sweater that slipped off one shoulder, revealing the delicate strap of a black camisole underneath. Her jeans were faded, and her bare feet tapped nervously against the hardwood floor as she folded clothes with mechanical precision. The soft scent of jasmine lingered in the air, a faint reminder of earlier days when her presence filled the room with warmth. "Brianna's place," she said, without looking up when I asked. "Girls' night. I'm staying over." I tried to keep my voice light, but the weight behind my words was unmistakable. "Is that allowed, or do I need permission now?" She paused, eyes meeting mine for the first time in hours, the usual defiance replaced by something more fragile. "Whitney, what's happening with us?" She hesitated, folding a shirt with trembling hands, then looked at me with something like pity. "Maybe we've just grown apart." "Is there someone else?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "What?" She shook her head as if I'd lost my mind. "No. God, Brandon, not everything is about another person. Sometimes people just need space. You've had 9 days of space, and you've been counting every single one. That's the problem. You're so focused on tracking my every move that you don't see how suffocating this relationship has become." I swallowed hard. "I'm tracking your moves because you're never here anymore. I'm here right now, and all we're doing is fighting. Maybe that's why I'd rather be somewhere else." She finished packing and stood, the weight of the moment settling between us like a thick fog. "You don't get it, do you? I'm not the same woman you moved in with. I'm different now." I nodded slowly, trying to accept the truth I'd been avoiding. It was 6 p.m. when she left, the soft click of the door closing behind her, echoing in the silent apartment. Around 9 p.m., curiosity gnawed at me. I checked her location on my phone. She wasn't at Brianna's flat like she'd said. Instead, the pin blinked somewhere across town, in a part of Winchester I barely knew. She didn't come home that night. For the first time ever, Whitney didn't come home. Sunday morning, she walked in at 10:30 a.m., her hair pulled into a messy bun, eyes red-rimmed and tired. I was making coffee when I asked, "Have fun at Brianna's?" "Yes," she replied, voice flat. "Must have been quite the girls' night then." "What's that supposed to mean?" "You weren't at Brianna's. I saw your location." Her face hardened. "You're tracking me now? That's psychotic." "We share locations, we always have." "Well, maybe I don't want it anymore," she said, walking away. 10 minutes later, she came out dressed to leave again, this time a soft cream blouse tucked into dark jeans, her feet slipping into tan ankle boots. "Going out again?" I asked quietly. "Meeting an old friend for lunch." "Who?" "Derek, my ex." "Your ex?" "He was from 5 years ago, a ghost from a past life." "We're just friends," she said quickly, avoiding my gaze. "Your ex?" "Yes, Brandon, my ex. We're getting lunch. It's not a big deal unless you make it 1 after 10 straight nights of being gone." "Oh my God, there you go again with the counting. I can't do this right now, I'm leaving." "When will you be back?" She didn't answer, just walked out. She returned at 2:11 a.m., quiet as a whisper, slipping into bed on the far side of the room. I was awake but stayed silent, the distance between us growing wider with every passing hour. Sunday dragged on. She slept until noon, then showered and announced she was going out for brunch and shopping. I left her to it, but my mind wouldn't rest. I checked the Instagram stories of the friends she'd mentioned. They were in Southampton, nearly 50 miles away. Another lie. I started packing at 2:30 p.m., methodical and cold. Folding her clothes, sorting through the makeup she barely used anymore, packing away the jewelry I'd given her. each piece a silent witness to what we once had. By 8 p.m., 4 suitcases and 3 boxes were packed and waiting by the front door. The apartment looked different, cleaner, emptier, more mine than ours. I felt relief, not sadness. I left a note on the top suitcase. "Since you don't come home to me anyway, now you don't have to. Lease in my name only. You have 30 days to collect the rest." As I sat by the window that night, the Ring camera app open on my phone, I waited for the inevitable. At 1:35 a.m., headlights swept into the street below, cutting through the quiet like a spotlight on a stage. The car pulled up outside the building, a sleek black sedan, not a taxi. I watched from the living room window, heart thudding. Whitney leaned back inside, planting a kiss on someone's cheek. The car peeled away before I could see more. The door clicked behind her moments later. She stepped inside, the hallway light casting long shadows across the floor. Her eyes landed on the 4 suitcases, lined up like silent sentinels by the door. For the first time in weeks, she looked startled. "What is this?" Her voice was small, trembling. "Exactly what it looks like," I said evenly. "Why are my things packed?" "Because you don't live here anymore." She stepped inside slowly, the weight of the words sinking in. "This is my home, too." "No," I shook my head. "This was your home. Past tense. You can't just throw me out." I glanced at my phone. "I'm not throwing you out. I'm helping you leave. Your Uber will be here in 2 minutes." "My Uber? I didn't call an Uber." "I did. Crawford Hotel. You'll need somewhere to stay tonight." Her face went pale. "Brandon, what is going on? Don't wait up. Isn't that what you've been telling me?" She went deathly still. My phone buzzed. "Your Uber has arrived." I showed her the notification. Her face drained of color. "Can we please talk about this?" "There's nothing to talk about. You made your choices for 12 nights straight." 12 nights? Night 1, Thursday. Don't wait up. Returned 11:23 p.m. Night 2, Friday. Don't wait up. Returned 11:58 p.m. Should I continue? You've been tracking me. Our Ring camera timestamps everyone who comes through that door. You come through it every night. Late, very late. I've been working night 10 Saturday. He's so boring now. Same routine every night. That's what you told Colin, right? She froze. How do you know about Colin? You left yourself logged into the iPad. Messages sync automatically. That's not what you think. Colin from the agency, the one you've mentioned 6 times in 2 weeks, the one whose car just dropped you off, the one you've been choosing over me for 12 consecutive nights. Tears welled in her eyes. I can explain. No need. It's very clear. You've been seeing someone else, lying about where you are, coming home at 2 a.m., making a fool of me. It's not like that. Then what is it? Enlighten me. Colin and I. It started as talking then. Her voice faltered. And then you decided that was more important than coming home to your boyfriend for 12 nights. It wasn't 12 nights of what? Cheating. Because that's exactly what it was. Silence, please. Can't we work through this? Work through what? Your lies, your late nights, your complete disrespect. I made a mistake. 12 mistakes in a row is not a mistake. It's a choice. She grabbed my arm. I love you. This thing with Colin didn't mean anything. I calmly removed her hand. Then you wasted 12 nights on something meaningless. I'll end it with him right now. I'll call him. Don't bother. I don't care what you do with Colin. That's between you two now. Where am I supposed to go? The Crawford Hotel. Your Uber's been waiting 3 minutes. Driver's probably annoyed. I can't afford a hotel. Should have thought about that before deciding not to come home for almost 2 weeks. This is my apartment too. My name's on the lease. Was on the lease. I spoke with the landlord this afternoon. He's emailing you the release paperwork tomorrow. You'll need to sign it. You can't do that. I can, and I did. You have 30 days to collect anything else. After that, it's donated. My phone buzzed again. Message from the Uber driver. I'm here. Please come out soon. Driver's getting impatient. I'm not leaving like this. Yes, you are. Right now. What about us? 3.5 years together ended 12 nights ago when you sent that first "Don't wait up" text. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Was it fair to lie to me every night? To mock me to call in about being boring? Was it fair to make me sit here wondering if you'd even come home? She had no answer. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to take your suitcases, get in that Uber, go to the hotel. Tomorrow you'll figure out your next move. But it won't be here. I have nowhere to go after tonight. Colin's place seemed to work fine for the last 2 weeks. He has a girlfriend. I laughed, cold and short. Of course he does. So, you were the other woman, and I was the fool. Well, not anymore. Please, Brandon. I opened the door wide. The Uber driver is waiting. The third notification popped up. Driver is leaving in 1 minute. I picked up 2 suitcases and walked them into the hallway. She followed, crying. I came back for the other 2. We rode the elevator in silence. The lobby security guard looked up, saw the situation, said nothing. Outside, the black Uber waited, hazards blinking. The driver got out. You the Crawford Hotel ride? He asked. She is, I said. He looked at Whitney, then the suitcases, then me. He understood immediately. I'll get these in the trunk. We loaded the suitcases together. Whitney stood on the sidewalk, still crying. This is really it? She asked, voice trembling. This was really it 12 nights ago. I'm just the last to know. I'm sorry. I'm not. The driver opened the back door. Ma'am, we should go. Whitney got in, still crying, still looking at me. I turned and walked back inside. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. The apartment was quiet when I returned. The space felt different, lighter somehow. That night I slept better than I had in 12 days. Monday morning dawned cold and gray, the kind of day that makes you want to pull the covers over your head and forget the world exists. My phone buzzed relentlessly beside me, a harsh reminder that the storm hadn't passed. At 9:17 a.m., the first message came. Where am I supposed to go? I didn't reply. At 9:42 a.m., another. Can we please talk? Still nothing. 10:15 a.m., desperate now. I made a mistake. Please answer. I kept my silence. By 11:03 a.m., the texts grew frantic. Colin won't answer my calls. I have nowhere to stay. No response. At 11:47 a.m., one last plea. I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, please. Finally, at noon, I typed back, You have 30 days to collect remaining items. Text before arriving. Don't call. That afternoon, I set about reclaiming my life, changed the locks with the landlord's blessing, transferred utilities into my name alone, altered the Wi-Fi password, removed her from my gym membership, changed every streaming service password I could think of. At 3:22 p.m., the phone rang. Her mother. Brandon, she said, voice tight. Whitney called me, crying. What happened? I took a breath. I helped her leave. There's a difference. After 3 years, you just end it. She ended it 12 nights ago. I just made it official. She said it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't. She was seeing someone else, coming home at 2 in the morning, lying about where she was. A long pause. I didn't know. Now you do. She's my daughter, and she's your problem now, not mine. I hung up and blocked the number. Tuesday morning, an email arrived from the landlord. Whitney had signed the lease release. The apartment was officially mine. That afternoon, Brianna called. "You're an asshole," she said bluntly. "Is there a point? Whitney's devastated. She's staying on my couch." "Good for her." "She made a mistake," Brianna said. 12 of them consecutively. I counted. "Everyone deserves a second chance." "She had 4,280 chances, one for every hour you were together. She chose to waste the last 288 of them with someone else. That's cold. That's math. 12 nights, 24 hours each. Simple calculation. You're not even going to hear her out. What would she say that would change anything? Sorry I lied. Sorry I cheated. Sorry I got caught. None of it matters. She really cares about you. She has a strange way of showing it. Coming home at 2 a.m., mocking you to her boyfriend. Yeah, I felt really cared for. Her boyfriend, Colin, has a girlfriend. I know. Whitney mentioned it right before she got in the Uber. Brianna went quiet. She said Colin was single. Whitney says a lot of things, doesn't mean they're true. I hung up and blocked her number, too. The first week, I donated everything she hadn't packed. Repainted the bedroom, rearranged furniture, bought new bedding, removed photos from the walls, packed them away in a box in the closet. She tried to contact me 47 times, texts, calls, emails, even a letter. I ignored all of it. She showed up at the building Friday evening. Security called. "Whitney Carson is here. Says it's an emergency." It wasn't. I told them not to let her up again. She waited in the lobby for 2 hours. I watched from the window. She finally left, crying. I felt nothing. Week 2, I reactivated my climbing gym membership. Week 3, I started going to poker night with friends. Week 4, Colin texted. "This is Colin. We need to talk." "No, we don't. Whitney won't stop contacting me. You need to tell her to stop." "Not my problem. She's your girlfriend. Ex, and she's your problem now. You wanted her attention. Enjoy it permanently." I blocked his number. Months passed. I lost 15 pounds, got promoted to senior developer, 20% raise, started climbing regularly, joined a tech meetup group, went hiking on Sundays. The apartment was completely mine. I set up a home office, everything organized how I wanted it. I was genuinely happy. One Saturday afternoon, I was wandering the aisles of the Waitrose on High Street, earbuds tucked in, just grabbing groceries for the week ahead. The world felt calm, predictable, until I rounded the corner into the produce section and froze. There she was, Whitney, looking different, worn down. Her once glossy chestnut hair was pulled back into a messy ponytail, strands escaping like loose threads. Her cheeks were softer than I remembered, as if the weight of sleepless nights and stress had settled there. She wore an oversized knitted jumper, sleeves hanging past her wrists, paired with faded jeans and scuffed trainers. There was a tiredness in her eyes, dark circles that spoke louder than words. She saw me, froze mid-reach for a bag of apples, fingers trembling. I nodded politely, one of those nods you give when you recognize someone you barely know anymore. Without a word, I turned toward the lettuce. "Brandon." "Wait," she called softly. I pulled out one earbud but didn't turn fully. "Yes?" "Can we talk?" "Just 5 minutes." I glanced at my watch. "Actually, I'm on a schedule, meeting Rachel at 3. "I really need to explain." I sighed and turned to face her. "You don't need to explain anything. It's been 4 months." She looked at me, confusion flickering across her face, as if she expected anger or hurt. "Okay?" "Yes, you made mistakes. Multiple mistakes. That's factually accurate. I want you to know I'm sorry." "Noted." "That's it. Just noted. What do you want me to say, that you forgive me, that we can try again?" I was genuinely puzzled. Why would we try again? You were clear about what you wanted. Him, not me. Colin and I aren't together. He went back to his girlfriend. I know. He texted me about it 3 months ago. Her eyes widened. He texted you, wanted me to make you stop contacting him. I told him it wasn't my problem. Everyone's abandoned me. Actions have consequences. I lost my apartment. I'm living with my parents again. I'm miserable. I haven't been able to find a new place. My parents won't help with rent. I'm 29 and sleeping in my childhood bedroom. That's unfortunate. Don't you care at all? I took a breath, weighing my words carefully. No, I genuinely don't. You're not part of my life anymore. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm indifferent. You're a person I used to know who made choices I disagreed with. That's all. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the security I provided, the apartment, the stability, the person who waited up. But you didn't love me enough to come home. She had nothing to say, just stood there, tears streaming down her face. A store employee nearby asked if everything was okay. I said yes. She said yes. The employee left but kept watching. I need to finish shopping, I said. I hope things work out for you, she whispered. I turned and walked away, earbuds back in, playlist selected, the familiar hum of music filling the space between us. 20 minutes later, at the checkout, she was gone. That evening I returned to my flat, the silence greeting me like an old friend. Cooking had become a kind of therapy over the past few months, something to focus on besides the mess Whitney left behind. Tonight's menu was pan-seared salmon with roasted vegetables, a recipe I'd found online and practiced twice already, getting better each time. I slid on a worn navy apron over a simple gray tee and jeans, the kind of comfortable clothes I'd come to prefer. The kitchen filled with the rich aroma of garlic and thyme as the salmon sizzled, the vegetables roasting slowly in the oven. I poured myself a glass of water, careful not to spill as I moved around the small space. Music played softly in the background. Nothing fancy, just a playlist of easygoing indie tunes that set a relaxed mood. For once, no distractions, no anxieties gnawing at the edges of my mind. As I plated the meal, arranging the vegetables in neat piles beside the golden fillet, I felt a strange sense of calm. The apartment was quieter now, less cluttered, more mine than ever. It was a space I could breathe in without memories pressing down on me. Sitting at the small dining table, the one Whitney and I had picked out together, I noticed how empty it felt, meant for two, but perfect for one. I ate slowly, savoring the flavors, paying attention to the texture, the subtle seasoning. It was the first meal in a long time that I wasn't distracted by my phone or the clock. After dinner, I cleaned up by hand, the warm water and soap soothing in a way I hadn't expected. Washing the dishes became a simple meditation, a way to tidy not just the kitchen, but my thoughts. My phone buzzed, a FaceTime call from Rachel. "Still good for Garden of the Gods tomorrow?" she asked, smiling brightly. "Absolutely. 8 a.m., I replied, matching her enthusiasm. "Perfect. The weather's supposed to be incredible." We chatted for 20 minutes, planning the hike, sharing easy conversation without subtext or tension. Snacks, water, maybe breakfast after. A simple day ahead with a friend, nothing complicated. After the call ended, I stepped out onto the balcony with a cup of coffee. The evening air was cool, carrying the distant hum of city life below. Lights twinkled softly, fading gradually into the night. I thought about the past 4 months, the silence, the fights, the lies, the goodbye. Realized I hadn't thought about Whitney in weeks, not until today, and even seeing her produced nothing, no anger, no hurt, no longing. Just nothing. Complete indifference. That's how I knew I was truly over it. She was a stranger again. The woman I'd lived with for 18 months, the one I thought I knew, didn't exist anymore. Maybe she never had. Maybe I'd been in love with potential instead of reality, the person she could be, the life we might have had, while she was chasing excitement, newness, someone else. Maybe "don't wait up" was the most honest thing she'd ever said to me. She was telling me not to wait. So I stopped. Stopped waiting. Stopped caring. Stopped being available for someone who wasn't available for me. The coffee was good. I'd learned to make it properly. Right temperature. Right ratio. Small things that made a difference. 4 months ago, I watched her drive away in an Uber at 2:15 in the morning. I haven't waited up since. Not for her. Not for anyone. I'd learned to wait for myself instead, for my own timing, my own readiness, my own choices. My phone buzzed. A text from Rachel. "Can't wait for tomorrow's hike. Weather's supposed to be perfect." I smiled, typed back, "See you at 8. Don't be late." Added a winky face. I put my phone down. The apartment was quiet, but it was a good quiet, the kind that comes from peace, not loneliness. I wasn't waiting for anyone anymore, and that felt exactly right. Weeks slipped by, each one folding into the next with quiet routine and small victories. I threw myself into work, the lines of code and problem-solving a welcome escape from the chaos that had become my personal life. The flat, once a battleground, now felt like a sanctuary, a place where I could think without fear or doubt creeping in. One evening I found myself at the climbing gym again, the familiar grip of the holds steady beneath my fingers. Sweat dripped down my forehead as I pushed myself up the wall, muscles burning but mind clear. The challenge was simple: focus on the next move, ignore everything else. I'd forgotten how freeing that could be. Afterwards, I met some of the guys for poker night at a local pub, a cozy spot with worn leather chairs and low lighting. The banter was easy, the laughter genuine. For once, I wasn't the guy sitting alone in the corner, waiting for a phone call that never came. On a Thursday night, I was scrolling through social media when a message popped up from an unknown number. "This is Colin. We need to talk." I stared at the screen for a moment, debating whether to reply. Instead, I blocked the number without a word. Whitney's name still echoed in every corner of my mind, but the pain had dulled into something manageable. The apartment was mine. I was building a new life. Then, one rainy Sunday afternoon, I was walking through the city center, umbrella in hand, when I spotted her again. Whitney. She was sitting alone on a bench outside a cafe, her face buried in her hands. The worn jumper was still there, those tired eyes haunting me from across the street. I hesitated. Part of me wanted to walk away, but another part pushed me forward. As I approached, she looked up, surprise and something like shame flickering across her face. "Brandon," she whispered. I nodded, keeping my distance. "Whitney." She gestured to the empty seat beside her. I sat down, the rain tapping steadily over us. "I'm sorry," she said, voice barely audible. "For everything." I looked out at the wet pavement. Sorry doesn't change the past. "I know, but I want to make things right." "Can you?" She shrugged, eyes glistening. "I don't know." We sat in silence, the city bustling around us, strangers lost in their own worlds. Sometimes I wondered if forgiveness was possible, if trust could ever be rebuilt. But as the rain soaked through my jacket, I felt something else rising inside me. A quiet resolve. Some stories don't have neat endings. Some wounds take time to heal. And some questions, well, they're still waiting for an answer. I stood up, brushing the water from my coat. "Take care, Whitney." "You too, Brandon." I walked away, the city swallowing me up, but I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't the last time our paths would cross. Not by a long shot. The following week, the city seemed to hum with an uneasy energy, as if the encounter with Whitney had stirred something beneath the surface. I found myself distracted at work, my mind replaying our brief conversation on that rain-soaked bench. The way her eyes had held a flicker of something. Regret? Hope? Or maybe just exhaustion. One evening, as I was leaving the office, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I hesitated, then answered. "Brandon," a familiar voice said softly. "Whitney," I replied, the air between us taut with unspoken words. I found something," she said hesitantly. "Something that might explain everything." "Explain what?" She swallowed audibly. "The nights, the lies, the distance. It wasn't just Colin. There's more. Someone else." My heart sank. "Who?" "There's a folder on my laptop. Password protected. I don't know what's in it, but I think I'm being watched. Followed." I frowned. "Watched? What do you mean?" "I don't know yet, but I found strange emails. Messages from someone named M. Threatening. Demanding." The silence stretched between us. My mind raced, trying to piece together the fragments of her fractured story. "Where are you now?" I asked. "Safe, for now. Meet me tomorrow. We need to talk, in person." "Okay," she whispered. The next day, at a quiet cafe on the edge of town, Whitney arrived, her usual guarded expression softened by exhaustion. She wore a dark green trench coat, the collar turned up against the drizzle, and a simple scarf wrapped loosely around her neck. Her eyes darted nervously as she sat down, fingers clutching a worn leather handbag. I slid my notebook across the table. "Tell me everything." She took a deep breath. "It started before Colin, when I took that contract with the agency. I thought it was just work, networking, meeting clients. But then the messages started. At first, just emails, odd comments about my schedule, places I was supposed to be. Do you have any idea who M is? No, but I think they know more about me than I do." I glanced around the cafe, the hum of quiet conversations masking the undercurrent of tension between us. "Whitney, this goes beyond us. We need to figure out what's really happening." She nodded, eyes meeting mine with a flicker of trust. As we left the cafe, rain pattering softly around us, I realized this wasn't just the end of a relationship. It was the beginning of a mystery far deeper than I'd ever imagined. And somewhere in the shadows, someone was watching, waiting. The question was, why? The days that followed were a blur of whispered conversations and furtive glances. Whitney and I became uneasy allies, bound together not by love, but by the need to uncover the truth, lurking beneath the surface of her fractured world. She showed me the encrypted folder on her laptop, the password locked tight like a secret fortress. Attempts to breach it only deepened the mystery. We combed through emails, piecing together cryptic messages signed simply with an M. Threats veiled in polite language, warnings to stay silent, hints about watching every step. The paranoia clung to Whitney like a second skin, her once vibrant spirit now shadowed by fear. One evening, as twilight bled into night, we sat in my living room, walls lined with books and memories of a life I thought I'd left behind. The rain tapped against the window pane, a relentless rhythm underscoring our unease. Suddenly, my phone buzzed. An unknown number. I answered. A distorted voice whispered, "You shouldn't be involved. Let her go, Brandon." The line went dead. Whitney's eyes widened, her hands trembling. "They know." I swallowed hard, the weight of the moment crashing down. This was no longer just about betrayal or broken promises. It was a game, dangerous and unpredictable. "Who is M?" I asked, voice steady despite the storm raging inside. Whitney shook her head. "I don't know, but I'm scared." The room seemed to close in around us, shadows lengthening as the night deepened. "We need help," I said. "Someone who can dig deeper." She nodded, the fragile hope flickering back to life. As I reached for my phone, the power suddenly cut out, plunging the apartment into darkness. Silence followed. Then a soft knock at the door. We froze. No one called out. Just the knock. 3 slow, deliberate taps. I moved toward the door, heart pounding. Whitney grabbed my arm, whispering, "Don't open it." But the lock clicked. The door creaked open, and standing there, framed by the dim hallway light, was a figure shrouded in shadow. No face visible, no words spoken, just a silent warning. The kind that promises everything is about to change, and nothing will ever be the same again.